Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Ryan here, of course. This is the final video for the Passat for now. Boy, we have come a long way. So firstly, let me just go ahead and shout out to Crystal Products GX3 Plastic Restore. This is not as good as Turtle Wax Trim Restore used to be, but for being able to just shake the can and spray it on, I'm pretty alright with it. Anyway, the question is, did we fix the Passat? Short answer, no. No, we didn't fix anything. What we accomplished in doing is really just painting the intake manifold, replacing some of the busted PCV stuff, and an SAI delete. Unfortunately, pulling the harness and cleaning all the pins and putting everything back did not alleviate the issue with the computer. So I am a little bit later this morning gonna order a new ECU for this. I'm just waiting for a word from my buddy on whether or not I still have my available tune file set to a specific ECM code, because if I do, I have to buy that specific ECM code, which is no big deal because that's the one that I found. I just want to make sure that that's what's going on. So basically, this is busted back down to daily driver status. And I mean, it was already a daily driver status car for me. It was just something that was supposed to be kind of nice, kind of newer, a little bit clean, and now it's just clean. So long story short, new ECM will hopefully be on the way later this evening. Probably be a couple of weeks before we do any kind of a real video about it. I mean, I've already stripped the harness out, so we may wind up just doing a little test rip video, see how it does. But anyway, check out some scores I got from the store the other day. So firstly, Trek Tech. I'd never heard of it, but it's Walmart, and it's on the shelf Walmart, and it was 16 bucks for one light. So I opened, I think it was this one. I opened it in the store, and I'm going to tell you, oh no, it was this one that I opened. Okay. Excuse me. So it's always got to be so damn difficult when you're trying to record, right? Bam! Look at this guy. Look at that chunky thing. I'm really excited for this. Like, this has the potential to be pretty badass. And this center bar here is supposedly an accent light, so I'll have to power that on and find out if it's white or orange or yellow or what they decided to do there. But I have two of these now. I got both of them on clearance for 16 bucks. I'm always excited for clearance, but this one, this is the good one. Look at this long thing for $50. As far as I know, all of the mounting hardware's here. I gave it a quick cursory look. Both of the brackets are there, bag of bolts. No big deal. But 32 inches. Let's get this out. Oh, yeah. Alright. Which way is the plastic going to come off? In the other direction. That's exactly what it would have. Okay. Alright. We got this. Yeah. Nice fancy blue. Oh, look at that. That actually looks awesome. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I have no idea what I'm going to put it on just yet. Some ideas are floating around in my head. I'm really thinking about getting some crossbars to go up on top, and I could put one up there. And since that's a slim profile, single row light bar, it shouldn't be too obnoxious sitting up on the top of the car. It should just kind of blend in with the roof bars. But I've also, I don't know if anybody else has had this issue, but I've had where I've put a light bar on the roof and had it out, and somehow it illuminates my windshield and my hood in enough of a way where it's actually more of a hindrance than a help. But yeah, look at that. It's gorgeous. I like it. Okay, so let's see what we got. Looks like 2 brackets, an Allen wrench, some washers, some lock washers, a couple of nuts, some bolts, and some crimp connectors. Cool. I didn't see the crimp connectors. Yeah, I do. And it's all just stainless steel hardware. I've got a bunch of fog light hardware stuff. You see, it looks pretty damn generic between the two. The cool thing is, I actually have a full, brand new, still in the box, Sylvania fog light harness kit with the relay and all that good stuff. We could really quickly have the bar and the 2 pods, and you see what happens when I happen? Busting lights out and stuff. Ignore it. What were we in here for? We were talking about light bars, and then we came in here talking about we were going to look at something, and then of course my ADD got the better of me. Oh no. Well, for starters, empty box. Okay. Oh yeah, the Sylvania fog light kit. There we go. So this guy, I actually had really good luck with this in my pickup truck. That's how I got all my floodlights, fog lights, and light bar wired up. And I've had it in there for like 2 years now, and it's still holding up. I'll admit the button is cheap and crappy. Don't let it sit in the sun too long. But basically, I have ways to put things in now. But again, I don't really know like what exactly. And this thing's heavy, boy. It's awesome. I'm gonna assume because that a little bit of writing, the SAI, the standard or whatever. So it doesn't quite span the whole gap between the two. So I don't really know that I want to put it up high. And then there's of course the fact that it's just going to look absolutely obnoxious sitting on the front of the damn. I'm not doing that. That's not happening. Not on the Passat. The Passat's too round for that. But if you can bear with me on the glare, imagine I could trim this right here or even up here and have it just out from underneath of the like recess in there, but like just under the lip of the hood, you know. I'd shut the hood and show you, but my drinks are in the way. Can't do that. But yeah, I could absolutely get down with being way out here and then just trying to find a way to mount it to the radiator support but have it hang low. These grills are really cheap, and I've thought about cutting out some of these anyway just to kind of make it look a little more aggressive, kind of polish a poo type thing. But we have some really cool fog lights for whatever I decide to get myself into. So that's something, right? Light bars are light bars, and even if I do put it in an obnoxious way on some kind of car, it's still something better than nothing. And it may end up on the Jetta. In all honesty, this may end up on the low end of the Jetta. I really just haven't decided what I want to do yet, because I have a little mini light bar on the front of the Jetta, just like I do on the front of this wagon. I don't really feel like walking all the way over to the Jetta, but I'll show you the bar on the wagon. So it's just a bullshit little nightlight bar. Now I wonder, I think that's way bigger than 32 inches though, because we were down here on top of the bumper taking up that whole gap. I was thinking maybe I could recess it behind the grill on the other car, but whatever. Anyway, I have apologies. I think I touched on it in my last video. my buddy Tristan came over and ended up giving me a hand with the minivan. He went ahead and did me a solid, and he put the window regulator back in, well, he put the new window regulator and motor in the van and confirmed that it worked for me, so we're good there. I unfortunately started doing the valve cover gaskets, and I did the back one already, which is kind of the one that everybody would, if they were needing help, would need help with. I'm here to tell you, it sucked, but it wasn't that bad. First things first, take these two out, follow this pipe down over to the other end of the motor. It should connect to the EGR valve over there. Pull that EGR valve, pull the two bolts, similar to these, same size as these, pull them out of the EGR valve, and then undo this 113 mil, and this will come up and out of the way. This hose here goes into the top of the center of the valve cover. It's the same thing as this, just on the other side. That side is the side with your PCV valve. So pull those two hose clamps and gently, now this took me some doing, I had to get back there with a couple of pliers because it's a hard rubber hose mounted to a plastic, valve cover. You can break these things really easily. So get those hose clamps off and out of the way, and then gently, with a pair of pliers or channel locks or slip joints or something, grab a hold and just gently work them back and forth, trying not to squeeze too tight. You'd rather it slip and just kind of scratch the outside of the hose than, dig in and crack the hose or break the valve cover. Anyway, the reason we're still here is because I made a mistake and I forgot to replace the grommets that go on the outside here. So I've actually got to redo, not entirely, but I got to pull this valve cover back off and do those grommets, and that'll basically tighten that up. Okay, so I'd like to point out on the back side I had to use a swivel, and I put a swivel on a wobble extension so that I had extra swivel. Thankfully on the front side you really only need the wobble extension itself. And what we're going to do is we're going to attempt, let's see if it'll work the way I'd like it to. We're just going to pull this loose, and I'm going to see if I can just kind of pull that fastener out and then one at a time replace these. I don't know if it's worth trying. Hey, it worked. So this is the rubber grommet that we're going for. We just gotta cut that off. Okay. I'm bring this up here. Got some cutters. You could do this with a razor knife or something if you wanted. I don't really recommend it just because there's no real need to take risks and cut things that don't need to be cut. We have cutting tools. Put them to use. Just like that, it'll split and come off. And the reason I say cut these is because after so many thousands and thousands and thousands and potentially hundreds of thousands, 216,000 in this case, also make sure that when you put these on, you put them on with that little lip facing down. So when you got this on, it should look like that. But now I can just really gently finagle this back in. Make sure it's not cross-threading, and then I can immediately go ahead and tighten this bad boy down. And there's going to be some tension and twist and stuff on this because you're squeezing a new bushing down into, where it's going to spend the rest of its life. So, bearing in mind that the potential for cross-threading is there, but there's that piece that we put the center rubber piece on, that weird looking washer spacer thing, that's going to keep you from crushing the valve cover. So make sure you tighten these all the way until they stop. And this is the same for the back. You just want to be as careful as you can because if you damage any of this is a plastic valve cover, you're gonna be stuck after that. Bam, just like that, it comes out. Give it a quick little wipe. Cut. Boop. See the collar? This collar is what's going to stop you, for the most part, from being able to crush the valve cover. So make sure you go until the fastener stops, and then give it just, you know, a good little piece of a turn. Okay. Look at that. We're already there. So, as far as the Passat goes, now that we're all just kind of sitting here chilling out, hanging, I'm not terribly surprised that it didn't go right. This car, if any of you have talked to me privately about it, or just in general, I have been very, very forthcoming with how much of a bear this car's really been for me. From day one, it's just, the only thing that went good was, well, went well for my grammar Nazis out there. The only thing that went well about that car was doing the engine swap. The timing job, the clutch job, and the engine swap itself, all that was great. Worked well, car came together, started up and ran pretty good. But then, like I said, I got it tuned, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks in, and it wasn't like I got 2 solid weeks of drive time or anything like that. It was actually the opposite. I got like, I don't know, 6 whole hours, maybe 7 whole hours worth of drive time. I put like 40 miles on it after I got the tune, and then the ECM just died. So, investigating the code set that I get from Ross Tech VCDS, whatever you want to call it, it is claiming that I have an internal altitude sensor gone bad, and then there is an internal barometric pressure sensor that has gone bad. Both of which just kind of suck, because they're in the ECM somehow, and I can't find any concrete, like, answers about what is the cause of that. Everybody just kind of says that, oh yeah, when you've got this code, it's a bad ECM, go ahead and replace it. And that's fine, but like my concern becomes, if I replace the ECM, what are my risk factors for it blowing the next ECM? Because, you know, again, part of the problem with these vehicles is that they're not new anymore. Not only are they not new, but you can't get parts for them like you used to could. This ECM that I found, it's a used ECM off of eBay that I'm having to pay $54 for and just kind of take a shot in the dark as to whether or not it's actually good like the guy claims. You know, they say it's tested, but how do you test an ECM if you didn't have the car? And I don't really have the room to argue with any of these folks just because it's not, I'm in need. It's that simple. I need the part. If that's going to be what's wrong with my car, that's fine. I have no problem with that. I need to know that what I'm getting has actually been somehow tested. Like, did the car come in? Did you break the car? Did you take it apart yourself? Like, is this a junkyard outfit, or is this like some guy in his driveway making a side hustle on parting out random European car? Like, you know, I have a handful of questions about it. Okay, so that's the front 4 done. I'm just going to go ahead and knock the rest of these out real quick. And then we'll see what we can do to move on to something a little more fun. I know, not today, probably not tomorrow. Yeah, I do still have 4 new ones. So some of these actually look better than others as far as their overall condition. Some of them haven't been oil soaked so bad that they haven't turned to plastic. It's not going to be today or tomorrow. It's probably going to be, let's see, today's Tuesday, so I'll be uploading the video that I'm recording right now today, and I'm going to try to do another video after this one, just to kind of get myself caught back up and ahead of the game again. I had you guys 2 days out, but then it rained 2 days in a row, and I couldn't come out here for very much. And let's be honest, my house is a mess. I had to catch up on chores. There's lots of stuff for me, you know, having been sick, that I didn't get around to doing. So that's what I did yesterday, day before. Just caught up on stuff so I could try and get some semblance of normalcy going back out here. And I made pretty good headway. I got all of the laundry done. I've gotten, you know, the basic stuff like dishes and vacuuming and whatnot. But laundry, oh yeah, I love laundry. Absolutely love laundry. Let me tell you about it. Let me get the short socket for this. Short socket just fits in there a little better. That deep wall is just in the way. Okay, so now that one feels loose. Reach down in there. Yay. Shout out to Tristan for fixing these pliers. I had pretty well considered them done. I found them and they were already bent like they were, so I was like, basically the handles are too far together and the jaws wouldn't close all the way. So unless you were trying to bite into something big, you didn't have any real press with it. Let's see. Again, this is another one of those perfect examples of why I don't like power tools. With this guy being down in here and offset the way it is, I would hate to think that I'd put a power ratchet on this and then turn around and, you know, cross thread this thing all the way down. I'd be sick to my stomach. Get it all the way snug, and then just a little bit. Come on, guy. There we go. We're almost done, folks. I'm excited for the next video that I'm about to film. If it wasn't for the fact that I've already decided that I want to commit to that video, a whole section to itself. And it's not even going to be a terribly long video. It's just going to be a great, expression of my brain and how it works for some of this stuff, I think is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so these back cylinders that don't sit with as much oil on them, they definitely end up in much, much better shape. And I'm here to tell you, the rear cylinders, golly, they were all smushed and plasticed out. And I think that's because when you're flooring it, the motor tilts back. So all of the splash factor oiling that you get from the rocker arms and everything flinging around up in the top end up here, push rods and such, because this is still an overhead cam motor. I mean, an overhead valve motor. This is not overhead cam motor at all. Basically, the oil will get in that little, you know, gap in between the valve cover itself, the gasket, and the head, and you know, if this motor is trucking along with like the cruise control on and it's constantly adjusting the power level, it's constantly fiddling itself with the throttle a little, it means you can pretty well guarantee that this motor's constantly got some kind of a rearward lean to it all the time. And if that's the case, you pretty well guarantee that everything's flexing. All right, so we got to go back to the deep wall for this, which I kept up here. Yeah. So this one's a bit of a reach because you got to get down in between the alternator and the AC line and intake. But just the same, you can still get to it pretty wide open with a good extension and a wobble. I've been using a 5/16 on the deep wall. I've been using an 8 mil on the short, just in case you have one or the other, don't have both like I do. All right. And there is the final one out. I've actually made the mistake of clipping my finger once. You know, talk about pain from hell. Crush, crimp, snap your fingers with one of them. I was incredibly upset for most of the afternoon after that, as I'm sure you could imagine. All right. Yeah, video's still doing good too. Look at us. Oh boy. So now that I'm a little more caught up and I'm not taking on so many things on these vehicles at once, I do believe that I may try to shoot for shorter videos. I may actually try to... I'm not saying that I'm going to go for multiple uploads in a day, because that's not what's happening. But I think what I'm going to do is, now that I'm not so frazzled trying to get the wagon running again, because even though it's not fixed, it's still drivable. When these things go into limp mode, they go into a rich map, and then they reduce boost, and they pull ignition timing. So it's kind of hard to hurt the engine when you're on limp mode. And of course, that's the entire point of the vehicle having limp mode. Look at that. We have finished the valve cover gasket job. Now we're going to slide that back down on that stud, put that spark plug wire back in, make sure that's nice where it needs to be. Same thing for the back. The back one was broken, but I managed to at least get the front leg on to the front stud. I'm not going to start it because you guys have already heard it, and it's a valve cover, so it's not... I'm going to have to let this thing run long term for it to burn most of the oil off, and then I'll hit it with a really good engine degreaser and then spray it from there. But I mean, we're getting progress done. The window's done. The valve cover gaskets are done. Window valve cover done. Super stoked on that because that was two of the big things. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you what we're doing for the next video, and I'll show you why it's going to be its own video. Ta-da! Look at this bad girl right here. So, I'll go ahead and come back here into the barn. We'll go ahead and start setting stuff up a little bit so that it's a little more further along. So basically, this section of catalytic converter and exhaust. Alright, bring it out here. Okay, so you can hear it. Well, you can. See that? Like, this is supposed to be a flex joint, and it has to be there because if you get rid of the flex joint, you'll ultimately mess the flow of the exhaust up. So we've got this now, and if I grab this down here, basically it's gonna sit something like that, and then basically we got to cut this off. Now, one of the things I really wanted to check first and foremost does this? Hey! Alright. So, that's actually beautiful because it comes with a hardware kit. Of course, it should come with some hardware, but I mean, this comes with a full kit of hardware. Damn it. Come on, guy. Boom. Look at that. So, we have a O2 block off if we want it, which we're going to keep this for another day. I might actually, I know what I might use that for. We're getting some basic bolts, fasteners. I don't see but the one set of washers, so they're probably going to go on the fastener side. But basically, we're going to do ourselves some exhaust work. And I mean, it doesn't have that one hanger going from the body of the cat to the pipe. So this may not be like the most super high quality thing I ever purchased from Amazon, but I'm going to be honest, it was a used a new catalytic converter with a flex joint welded onto it for $80, shipped for free. So basically that's the next video, because I'm going to, you know, do some stuff and try to get all this stuff tightened up. You know, I figured I'd make a video on at least me doing the exhaust. Oh, look at the ant. The ant's trying to bite me. Hell no, cuz. Look, got him. Got him. Fire ants out here. Terrible. Anyway, this is the pile of crap that came out of the Passat. Secondary air and bracket. Secondary air. This is from the secondary air. I believe this. No. Yeah, there. So that goes there and goes up to the air box. I'm going to throw this away real fast. Yep. There we go. Okay. So, secondary air. And then that goes up to the air box. And then this one here comes up from that one there and goes up to the, believe it was that one. But anyway, this is the pile of crap. Here's all the zip tie-ins, different hose pieces, different clamps and stuff that we're not using anymore. Like, look at all this. This is totally different thing. Ah, goodness gracious me. I tell you what though, this actually came out kind of okay, so I'm going to keep that. That's the combi valve gasket. If my little secondary air O-ring gives up, I can put this in there and try again. I'm really excited. I'm hoping I get my buffing pads from China soon before they put the crazy embargo on us. Because I really can't wait to buff this thing down, get it all shined up, make it look like a brand new van. Have me and the wife pimping around in something nice for once, like something shiny from front to back. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The Passat, a wagon, and then you can't see it, but on the other side of that shed, her Passat. They're okay cars, but if you start walking up close to it, you start noticing minor things like you got that there big old paint chip on the hood. There's a couple dings in the middle of the hood. There's a couple paint chips in the rub strip. Some paint chipping on the license plate bracket. Oh look, more paint chips right there. So as good as it looks, it's a 50-footer, you know. But this, I want this to look good, you know, at 20 feet. I want you to be walking out of the parking lot, you know, from a Walmart trip, and I want you to be like, dang, somebody likes that there minivan. And it won't be for any particular reason, because I don't particularly like minivans, but I like the idea of having a van in general, whether it was a Chrysler product or whatever. By the way, shout out Milwaukee Pack Out. If you've not seen these mugs yet, check out this bullshit. It's locked in. Love it. Got Gotta love that dark roast cold brew. Pretty tasty. But anyway, this thing has come along pretty damn quickly, thanks to Tristan helping me out. The wagon has also come along not so quickly, but at least it's back together and it's running, so I can give it a wash and I can do something with it and we can go places. This still needs a good, solid interior clean and detail, but you know, the car I traded for it wasn't terribly clean, so whatever. What's fair is fair. But man, I'm so stoked to have this car back on the road. I still need to get a windshield, need to order that ECM, I need to get better wheels. Like, I really need wider wheels. I want something that fills up. Like, look at that. Look at how sunk in it is. And the bad part is the back actually has like pretty decent sized 15 mil spacers, I thought. Yeah, I got some ECS tuning spacers. Oh, then I saw a little froggy. I saw a little, oh, there he went. He's trying to hide from me. He's trying to get away. Anyway, this stuff's pretty cool, but I need this, I need like wider wheels. I need like lip and stuff. I need something like official. Anyway, on that bombshell, I'm gonna go ahead and end this one. I know this one's a bit short. It's not as much going on, but that's because, you know, the jobs I had lined up kind of got knocked out before I could get to the point of filming. You know, Tristan came over. We were ready to just get it knocked out, so we got it knocked out. So we'll see you back at the next video. I appreciate everybody who watches this junk. Hopefully before too long you will actually start to see some real progress, some stuff starting to change around here, getting better. Maybe some of it worse. It just depends on your perspective, I guess. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for following along. Thank you so much for watching me, listening to my dumb stuff, watching me ADHD my way around the backyard. But, you know, it's been, like I've said in the past videos, there's been like a real help to my motivation through doing these videos, and so it's, oh man, I can't wait until I have like finished products to start showing people. Like, the work itself is always fun, but let's be real. Going out on rips and hitting the track and, you know, minor stuff like that, that's what we're trying to do. So we'll see what we get to when we get there, but for now, the Passat is done. And you should see the next video for tomorrow pop up and be about that bad girl right there. Of course, you know, it's not perfect, but for what I've got invested into it, for how nice it looks, for how cheap it's been to fix it, I'm under $200 for the catalytic converter, valve covers, and the window regulator. I am at like $160 for the total package. So we're there. But all right, y'all, thank you very much. I appreciate you standing around. We'll look back at the Passat one more time. Just, yeah, look at that. Doesn't it just look so good all put together and able to be started and run? All right, like, comment, subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.